Welcome to Magic in the Ordinary. Today it is my joy and privilege to welcome a dear friend and brilliant scientist, Dr. Sarah Kostick. Sarah, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for coming. Brilliant might be an overstatement. So let's set the stage properly here.
I don't know about that. Can you tell us about your scientific work? What do you do?
Yeah, so my background was originally in biology, and I had originally thought about going into medicine. Turns out I don't like people that much, so we moved away from that, and I am a plant geneticist and breeder at the University of Minnesota. I work on developing new apple varieties. So think of Mendel's Punnett squares. He worked on peas. I work on apples. Same type of concept.
Very nice. Yeah. I wanted to jump right into the hard questions.
Okay.
Are faith and science opposed?
No. Do you want a longer answer?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we go back to the fact that truth can't contradict truth, the fundamental pursuit of science is the pursuit of truth in the world where we can measure, quantify, understand. So science is relegated to the world that we can observe. Faith obviously expands upon that, but they can't contradict each other because they're ultimately in the pursuit of truth. Science helps us to understand that the world that the Creator created and brings us closer to Him in that way if we're open to that. But it doesn't help us to prove the existence of God, right? We need faith for that, but it doesn't also disprove the existence of the Lord. So as a scientist, it's my privilege to help us understand this little slice of the world around us in that pursuit of truth. But fundamentally, I think it's really important that we keep in mind that truth can't contradict truth. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So the title of the show, Magic in the Ordinary, is all about finding wonder in everyday life. I wanted to hear a little bit about how do you find wonder in the world around us, but then also in work, I feel like sometimes things can get a little bogged down. How do you keep that sense of wonder?
The irony of this, I was thinking about this as I was driving here. It's been a really long week already. It's only Monday. And so I'm like, wonder. I'm so grumpy. I don't like to see, I don't wonder anything right now. But it's true though, that wonder and scientific pursuits should go hand in hand, right? Because science is this aspect of receptivity. And wonder is really about receptivity to the world around us. And we're better scientists when we are really receptive and observe the world around us and wonder and receive the world. Like curiosity is just I just want to understand this so that I can either make my tool work better or make this process better. And that's not bad in and of itself, right? That's an aspect of science. But wonder is this receptivity and awe of oh my goodness, why is this the way it is, so that I can keep going deeper. If I'm doing that well, which is often not the case, there's an awareness of the world around me whenever I'm out in the orchard, when I'm working with that trees. I'm okay, I'm stopped. Oh wow, why is that different? And that why question keeps drawing me deeper. But so frequently, and I'm guilty of this, and I think all of us are guilty of this, that we kind of go through the world just point A to point B. Or if I'm bored in that journey, I pull out my phone. I'm okay, I'm so bored. But there's a loss of wonder when we are just so focused on our technology, which technology, it can help with wonder too, right? We're obviously utilizing it right now. But yeah, just cultivating this receptivity. We see a lot of receptivity in the saints as well, right? And as a scientist, I need to be receptive in my little realm, but also in my day-to-day life as well.
I like that. I think I kind of feel our society's hustle culture, productivity bent is part of the issue for that, because I don't know, I'll catch myself slowing down at something and then being I wasted time.
Guilty.
And there's times I'm I'm a writer. Sitting there daydreaming is literally the best thing for my business or my writing. And it's but then there would be this oh, I got off task. I got to get back on it, and I've got to go faster. And I think that kind of kills wonder. It can be a wonder killer sometimes.
I'm the queen of the to-do list. So at a certain point, because it's check. And that's important, right? We do have to get stuff done. At least some of us do. Otherwise, society wouldn't function. But there's this emphasis, especially in our particular culture, of do, get the product done, on the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And we forget that, it's sometimes about the journey. It's not always just the destination. It's not always how productive we can be in every aspect of our lives. And it's important in science too, to not be so focused on the product, because it kind of narrows our focus on like, this is the only way that we can get there. And if we lose that wonder, we can lose our ability to generate unique hypotheses and ask those questions.
Dang.
Yeah. I say that, but then I'm like, but I got a to-do list that I have to get done, right? So there has to be a balance there.
There's a tension.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta do this, and also rest, and also gotta... It kind of, that you said, like, it's about the journey sometimes.
Yeah.
It makes me think of hiking, because there can be this, like, I gotta get to wherever, and it's so interesting being like, the whole point of me doing this hobby is because I like the hiking part.
Yeah, it's not just about the destination. Right. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes the hike sucks, and like it's just about the last part of it, but most of the time it is about the journey. Yeah. Which I can say philosophically now, but like when you're in the middle of a hike, you're like, I just want to be done. I just want to be done.
It's hard not to get too goal-oriented sometimes.
Yep.
I'm curious, what drew you to apples in particular?
That's a good question. It's kind of an accident, actually, in a lot of ways. The summer between my junior and senior year of undergrad, I was looking for an internship to start to get some experience in biology related things. And I had originally applied to some like natural resource job, and I didn't get that one, and I randomly applied for this internship at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum, and that's what introduced me to like horticulture as a science. And the program that I currently work for, I did some work for them as an intern, and that kind of opened the door. And I think in a lot of ways that's how the Lord works. He'll be like, close door, close door, close door, and then open a door, and you're like, okay, I thought this was kind of an accident, it's kind of random, but it's like those little steps that open up the door to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Apple's a cool fruit. I like fruit in general. I like plants. They don't talk. They don't move. It's great. Not like people. Yeah, they can't mouth at you. Not, or I just pull it out and kill a tree. It's fine. But yeah, like I would work on other fruits, but that's just kind of the door that's open thus far. Yeah.
Are there a lot of fruits in Minnesota to work on?
I mean, I work for the main program that does a lot of fruit development here in Minnesota. Minnesota isn't really a big fruit production state. It's kind of an accident that we have this program. Honeycrisp is really the reason. So there's a lot of freedom in what we can work on, but there's also like we have to be focused on certain things. So apple's the biggest program, but we do work on some other crops. We work on kiwi berry, which is like a mini kiwi. We work on blueberry. We do some work on sort of dabble in sweet cherry, tart cherry. When you get outside of apple, it's more dabbling, but we do work on some of those crops.
This is like super tangenting, but do you guys work with grapes?
So there's another program that I don't work for that does work on grapes. So that's primarily focused on cold hardy wine grapes and table grapes. Yeah. So my colleague works on that.
That is one of my random hobbies is like winemaking. Sounds fun.
Oh, okay.
But I just feel like grapes are so hard to grow here. Like my grandpa always had like huge vineyard just growing in the backyard and go all over everything in California. Yeah,
they grow Vitis vinifera, where like the cold hardy program is focused on like introducing more wild species so that you can get them to grow here, because otherwise those are not going to grow. They need to be babied so much.
Okay, I won't try to bring them over.
No, don't try. It's an exercise in futility.
Oh my gosh. So we're talking about wonder. Do you have any insights? How do you think, if anyone's listening and wants to develop more of a sense of wonder, how they could do that?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we all need to unplug a little bit.
Yeah.
So cultivating a sense of wonder requires us to be able to observe and be aware of the world around us. And so being intentional about, I'm not saying throw your phone away. That's not useful. I mean, for some people it works, but like for most of us, no. But maybe cultivating 10, 15, 20 minutes a day where we turn off our phone, we turn off our smartwatch, like all of it, and you just kind of sit in the silence. And I think we as human beings are really uncomfortable with silence. We don't like it. And I'm not just saying like auditory silence, but also just silence in general, and cultivating that time away from your phone and your electronics, and then just walk around and observe and sit or read a book or do something and be curious, like ask those questions, and don't immediately go down a Google rabbit hole, but like just cultivate those abilities to sit with your silence, sit with those questions, and then, you know, explore things that you're interested in. Like not all of us care about Greek history, or, you know, or just insert whatever random thing that your viewers care about that I probably don't care about. Like, but we all need the diversity, right? And to cultivate those areas of curiosity and wonder. And I think the more we exercise those muscles, the easier it gets. I mean, just watch little kids. They're naturals at it, and then for whatever reason, as adults, we're just like become cynical and we're like, there's nothing good about the world around us, and then recognize the beauty when you see it. Right? Take that moment, like, okay, there's a beautiful flower. I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna appreciate that, or a bird, or whatever the heck it ends up being. Take those moments to really appreciate it and sit with it. I don't know if that's a good answer or what, but I
think it is. Well, because it's actually a little bit counterintuitive with the phone. Yeah. Because, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of us know phones. Don't be on it too much. But, like, there's this kind of excitement in, like, if you have a lot of questions, being like, I really want to know what snakes are in Minnesota randomly.
And I mean, do that, but like maybe just for the 20 minutes, don't do that, and just like wrestle with some of those questions.
Yeah, or even like before, like give it 5 minutes of looking at the snake and being like, whoa, I didn't know those were in Minnesota, and then taking out the phone, because I think it can choke it out a little bit if you're like, research right away, and it's too easy now. I think like Elon Musk said, we're almost cyborgs at this point, because we can look stuff up so fast. And I was like, I caught myself being like, wow, that's great, I like learned that information for like 1 second, and then I forgot it. But like,
it goes
but then like there wasn't like, it kind of can diminish the sense of wonder, I think, if it's not done right. And obviously it's still good to research and stuff, but just looking at like, I'll just take a minute and just appreciate what this weird thing is, instead of like going for my phone as fast as possible. Like I do this with bird calls too now. I'm like, what is it? And it's like, just sit and enjoy it for a second. Like it's good to do that.
Back in the day, we would have to like go listen to a CD and see like which one was it. I'm like, did I miss it? Nope, that wasn't it. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that one's really good, and I think the point of like slowing down and just like observing things is really, really good, because I think there was some Chesterton quote about how much he loved the spider web. And like sat for like 45 minutes at like his train was late, and he was just like, this is the most insane creation ever. Like, how is it this the tension? And I was like, I would have gotten through an episode of something by that time. Waiting for the train. So I don't know. I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I say that, but do I practice it 90% of the time? No. So do what I say, not what I do.
It's something to strive for. and good to keep in mind. I think like practice. Also.
Yeah, and just catch yourself when you're going immediately to look something up, or just like or when you have a sense of time of quiet that you immediately reach for your phone. Just go, okay, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna wait 30 seconds. So just you know, discipline.
Or bring a kid on a hike, because then they'll slow you down.
Yeah, that's annoying. Like lay in the middle of the trail, or like we're 5 feet in. How are you? Okay, whatever.
I feel like there's Yeah. It's not just kids that do that.
Yeah, no, we all do that. I mean, I'm sure there's a metaphor for life in there somewhere.
Yeah. It's so true. Like, basically, I think the moral of the story is just go on hikes without a phone.
Yeah.
And then find yourself.
Yeah.
Deep in the trails.
Or get lost.
Or lose yourself. That would be what I would do.
Yeah.
I was on a circular loop on a hike yesterday, and I was like, did I get lost? And I was like, this is a circle? That could not happen. Unless
you, like, stepped off. I don't know how that
I didn't, but for a while I was a little bit worried. Because I was like, wait, where did I go? And there's a couple down trees, and I think I was like, it was messing up the circle.
Yeah.
Still. All right. So I wanted to jump into then, you're an academic. You strive for excellence.
Yep.
How do you pair excellence with humility?
Oh, why you gotta bring up humility? No, it's true. I think I'm not a very humble person, so it's a virtue that I need to work on. But I think that's all human beings. I think though we have to recognize what humility truly is, and it's not a false sense of humility, right? Where we're like, oh, I'm the worst, but actually I'm the best. Oh, I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
It's receiving exactly the gift that we have and what we are, right? And so, like, recognizing our gifts and recognizing that our talents are actually gifts. I think that's the key, is like, we need to recognize that everything we have is a gift. So my ability to ask scientific questions, my ability to write, my ability to communicate, those are obviously talents that I've practiced, right? There's things that I get better at. I obviously am not perfect at them, but they're obviously gifts, right? That can sometimes separate me from another human being. But that doesn't make me necessarily better than them. I think focusing on the gift as opposed to I am the source of this. I am greatness incarnate itself. No, like that's not humility. And it's really important as an academic and as a scientist to be humble, or to practice the virtue of humility might be a better way to say that. Because if we go in and we're like, I'm the source of all of this, I'm going to discover this, I'm often going to go in with preconceived notions of like what the answer is or how the best way to do that is. And sometimes I'm going to be right, but most of the time I'm going to be a little wrong in a little bit other aspects of that. And so in order to be excellent at science, you have to be humble, because you have to be able to recognize, well, that hypothesis was wrong or was partially right. How are we going to tweak this, or how are we going to formulate the question to really get at what we want to answer? So I think humility is that virtue that we all despise in a lot of ways, because it like recognizes that He is God.
We are not.
I am not. As much as we try to ignore that fact sometimes, but it's a virtue that we all will spend our entire lives striving to grow in, and it's a gift, right? But I think sometimes in like a correction to we want to be saints or we want to be holy, and so we're like, well, I am scum. I mean, yeah, you could be sometimes. Like, you're a sinful human being, but like, you're also a gift. The Lord created you. You have a lot of gifts and talents. You are necessary and needed, and He loves you. And the people around you need you for who you are. And to be humble enough to realize, wow, I'm a gift, and I have to be able to receive that is really difficult, I think, for a lot of us. The Litany of Humility is simultaneously my favorite and least favorite prayer ever. So y'all should pray it. Pray it at your own risk, I guess. It's the key, because I don't want any of it. I'm like, Lord, I don't want any of this, but help me to want a lot of this. But I think it's really important, as all human beings, like academics, whoever you are, you need to grow in humility.
It makes me think of there's this retreat with JP2. He did a retreat in Poland for artists.
Okay.
So, but one of the things he said was like, artists have this kind of pitfall of you're working with beauty a lot. Yeah. Like, you're trying to keep your gaze on beauty. You're trying to create something beautiful, whether that's a masterpiece of a song or a painting or whatever, a book, whatever that might be. And so as an artist, he's like, you have to let beauty flow through you, and remember the beauty is flowing through you. You are not the beauty yourself.
Yeah.
And just to be like, have this sense of like, everything I've been given is so like, it's not like I went out and was like, I want to be really good at X, Y, Z, or like, you can do that, and I know you can practice this, but like the natural talents that you've been given or the desires on your heart aren't like, you didn't get to pick that out exactly. You weren't creating yourself at birth. No. So like, there's this beautiful sense of just like receiving, like, wow, I have this talent, I can work to develop it, but just like, this is something that's been given to me, that's flowing through me, that I can then gift to others, like you're saying, but like not hold on to it.
Yeah, and it's not like if we didn't have our gifts, we would still be a perfect gift. Like, we'd still be a gift, but those gifts that we're been given are a reflection of the Creator. And I think one thing that we as human beings often get stuck on is like, well, my gifts, they're not that great. Like, I prefer to have your gift or that person's gift, and then we lose sight of the gift. And that's in a lot of ways an act of pride. It's like, okay, well, the Lord doesn't know what he's doing when he gave me my gifts, because like I could be so much better if I had X, Y, Z. I'm like, maybe you should stop whining and like look at like and really receive the gift that you have been given. And the more that we use those gifts for love of the Lord and flow from our love for him, like, the greater those gifts will become, the more fruitful they become, right? I've seen that in my own life. I mean, I'm like, my growth in virtue is like this much. But like, the more I strive for holiness, the more I seek the Lord and him first, little by little, the more fruit I see when I utilize my gifts. But when I use my gifts for me, it leaves me kind of empty.
That's really interesting. It makes me think of I think it's Saint Euna's quote of like, the glory of God is man fully alive. And I think sometimes it can be scary to use your gifts, one, because you're like, I don't know if I've got the same, like, I don't have that person's gift. But then two, like, oh man, I lost my train of thought. There was a two. Glory of God is man fully alive. Like, I don't know, like, it's not going to bring glory enough, or something along those lines of like,
it's not beautiful enough. It's not big enough. It's not showy enough. And you know, every gift though is needed. I mean, St. Paul talks about we're like, if we're all a bunch of noses, we're not a body, right? Like, and we need everyone and their gifts, and to recognize that, like, yes, I have my gifts, but so does my neighbor, and like, how can I receive the gift that they are and the gifts that they have, and how can I love them well with the gifts that I have? And the more we utilize our gifts, the more we become like truly alive, because we're just like, we recognize who we are. And it's not for what we can do. Like, it's not us doing anything. It's fully a gift.
Right. It's like the giving the gift back, and it just gets bigger. Of like, I think about that sometimes. Of like, I think we get scared to use our gifts, but then once you start using it, like, it's like, okay, I guess I think of creativity. Like, I've heard people be like, I'm gonna run out of ideas, and I'm like, if you're like, the more I've thought that before in the past, and the more I write, like, the more I'm doing stuff, the more ideas I have, and you think it like run to the end, but the more is there, and it's like this kind of sense of, okay, if you invest in it and you put that time into it and you put that work into it, it gets bigger, and then you're blessing more people, and it's just like this. It's beautiful to see, I guess, how it can grow, because sometimes if you like, I have this gift. I mean, we're just talking about the gospel bearing the talents, essentially.
Like, which is a stressful gospel for me. Like, every time I read it, I'm like, oh man, am I the one who's just like, but I have this one thing, and I'm going to bury it because I don't want to lose, because I hate risk. Well, like, it's true though. It is. The more that we utilize our gifts, and the more we take, risks for the Lord, the more that bears fruit. I think about, the feeding of the 5,000. If that random kid hadn't been like, okay, you can have my fish and loaves of bread, like, the Lord wouldn't have worked that well. He probably would have, but in some different way. Like, he utilizes our scarcity, and it brings it to abundance. But so often I think I'm scared. I'm like, but but risk and what if people think? I'm like, who cares?
Yes.
No one's thinking about you anyway. They're all thinking about themselves. It's like, it doesn't really matter.
We're all asking this question. It's really not a concern to any of us.
Yeah, we're all just
what is everyone
staring down at ourselves. Yeah, and we're worried about what everyone else thinks. It's just ridiculous. Like, but
so funny.
We all do it.
Yep. The other thing about the talents gospel, when I found out like a talent is worth like, I forget, it was like 50,000, like basically it's like 3 salaries or like a salary's worth of stuff. That, see, as a kid, I always imagined a talent as like 1 coin that you like stick in the ground. Yeah, and so I was like, well, that poor guy only had like 1 coin when he like, you bury your talent, you like try to save it and you hide it. And I was like, well, yeah, if you only have
Buddy had
talent,
a lot.
Yeah, apparently he was rolling in it, and I was like, that kind of was like a moment for me too of like, I think sometimes I'm like, I have a gift, it's okay, and I'm like, no. That's the same for us too. We have a wealth of gifts. Yeah. All of us do. Whatever that, they might not look how we think they should or whatever, but all of us have like this just wealth of talents and whatever it is that God's given us that He's.
And when we start using those well, or like try, and we start to cooperate with the Lord's will, our lives are full of joy. Like, it doesn't mean you're not going to suffer. Sorry, that's just part of life. But you're going to have this joy and this peace.
Yes.
And it's hard to describe unless you've really experienced it. But
yeah, I wonder if it's even hard to like believe in it unless you like experience it. Sometimes I'm like, how is
even when I've experienced it, I'm like, but was that just my emotions being weird? Or it's true
real.
Though. Yeah, it's real, very real.
Oh, so good. You've given some great talks on friendship, so I was wondering if we could pivot a little bit into friendship and just say, how is friendship helpful on the journey, on this hike through life that we're doing?
Good question. Well, as much as I hate to admit it as an introvert, we were made for relationship. Like, obviously, we were ultimately made for relationship with God. Like, that's what will satisfy the longings of our human heart, but we're also made for each other. And when you're isolated, you're and cut off from other human beings, like we become very inward focused, right? And it's very depressing, honestly. Like, you don't have people to share your joy, but also to pull you out of yourself, right? Like, I think my dad gave advice to one of my siblings at one point. Unless you're living for something outside of yourself, you're going to be miserable. Even if you have a ton of resources or whatever, you just need to be living for something outside of yourself. And friendship is so beautiful. I don't know if you've read C.S. Lewis's The Four Loves. Yeah. But I love his reflection on friendship because he calls it the most unselfish of the loves, because you're standing side by side, and the reason that you're in this relationship of love is because just for each other. Like, there's nothing that you're really getting out of it in a lot of ways. You have some common interests, some common goal, and depending upon the level of your friendship, right? Some friendships are merely friendships of convenience, which they're good, they're fine. Like, you should have those in your life. But those friendships that are really focused on that common goal of the Lord, of entering more deeply into relationship with Him, of ultimately becoming saints, are so deep and so beautiful. And I mean, in my own life, having a very small group of friends that are what I would consider like those very close friends has really helped me to grow in virtue, because they call me out, right? Like when I'm messing up, but they also, on the flip side of that, they have helped me see the gift that I am when I don't necessarily see it, or see the gifts that I have when I don't. I'm like, oh, that's just the thing about me. No, that's a gift, right? And we're not very, for as introspective as we can be, and for as inward focused as we can be, we're not often very objective when it comes to like actually knowing who we are and what gifts we have and the gift that we are. So I think friendship really, holy friendship focused on virtue, friendship focused on the Lord, really helps us to understand who we are, but also to grow in that holiness. Now it can, on the flip side of that, bad friendship can, or friendship that's not focused on the Lord, friendship that's focused on whatever it may be, vice, will often have the opposite effect. There's that saying where you are the
Yes.
5 people that you spend the most time with, and that's a good reflection for all of us. It's like, okay, who am I becoming like, and do I want to be that person? Which is uncomfortable, because sometimes that means putting some boundaries in relationships, or I'm not a huge fan of cutting people out completely, but sometimes you have to. Like that's sometimes a necessity. So really reflecting on, okay, what are those friendships that I consider close, that I consider the people my people, and where are we headed? Like on this journey, where are we headed? What is our destination? Is it the Lord? If it's not the Lord, you know where it is. like that. There's no other options really besides that. There's no other good options. But yeah.
Okay, this makes me think of like Saint Posses and stuff. Because, you know, we love our friends who've gotten to heaven. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to share, like, who are a couple inspirations to you?
People ask me this question all the time, and I'm like, oh, but how do I choose? Right now, I'm a huge fan of Saint Teresa of Avila. Like, woohoo! I'm reading a biography about her that was actually suggested by my sister Teresa. Yeah, Sister or Saint Teresa of Avila just like is really speaking to me in this time of my life, just having a really big personality. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I have kind of a big personality. So that's like, and just like how she used her independence and her gifts. Well, first the Lord kind of broke her down a little bit, but really allowed him to utilize her in a specific way. Saint Ignatius is another.
You like the intense one.
I am like very, I like intensity. I know.
Blowing up legs and demon hunting.
Yeah, St. Ignatius is great. I appreciate him for his spiritual exercises and just his approach to prayer. That's been really helpful for me, who's not hugely emotional. So that's like providing that structure has been really helpful. Trying to think. I am a big fan of St. Francis de Sales and St. Alphonsus Liguori. I'm trying to think of any. I'm not in St. Teresa's fan club, but she's growing on me. I don't dislike her as much as I used to I never disliked St. Teresa. I disliked the ideas I heard about her. But like she's growing on me a little bit. And then there's a Blessed Sarah Sakahazi. Oh, yes. She's also really intense. She had an intense conversion. She was like a chain-smoking socialist that she became a sister and ended up being a martyr during World War II. But that's so crazy. And then one more, Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, or Saint Edith Stein, and her deep intellectual life is always really appealing. She got a PhD. And her religious vocation was much later in life, so she's a convert as well. But yeah, a lot of these saints, what I love about them is that they all love the Lord, but if you really look at their lives, they were all so unique and so different and had vastly different personalities. I think sometimes when we read the highlights of their lives, they're like, holy, 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 died, went to heaven. And that's not who they are. Some of them had big struggles, some of them had little struggles, but there's a saint that at any given time in our lives we can relate to. And who knows, someday, maybe, Lord willing, I'll be up there with him in heaven and someone will relate to the chaos that is this. So.
Saints among the saints.
Saints among the saints.
Yeah. There's a Eucharistic prayer and I'm always like, I love this prayer. It's like so daunting. It also, I feel like I'm just pulling out all these quotes, but like Theoden, I think there's this line that like Saruman tries to tell him in Lord of the Rings where Theoden's king, but then somebody tells him like, you're a lesser son of greater sires. And I just remember being like, like sometimes that's what reading through a saint book feels like a little bit, where you're like, well, these people, like, they had big, I don't know, they had these crazy martyrdoms and they had this insane courage, and I don't know where that came from, but like, I don't know if I have that level. Like, I'm working on virtue, but like that is a different level of virtue.
But when we read the lives of the saints, though, we're reading their whole life.
Yes.
Right? Like, and we're in this little aspect of our story, and it's all grace. I think that's why so many people relate so much to Saint Therese, is because she didn't have any huge moments.
Yeah.
She was kind of a bratty little girl that went and joined the convent and like struggled with a lot of like really little things, but she became a saint. Like that was her path to sainthood. Maybe mine's different, maybe yours is different, but yeah.
She's my confirmation saint.
Yeah, I know, and it's growing on me, but
I'm in the fan club, and whenever anyone's like, I'm not, I'm like, oh, then you're a target. she'll go after. I just feel like she's a very extroverted saint.
It's true. Oh, she does.
It's true, and it is beautiful. Then when you, like you're saying, when you dive in deeper to the stories, just to realize like we're all humans, and I think it's a I don't know if it's a vice that's particular to this time, but we over polish things. You know, like we see these like Instagram versus reality, but I kind of feel like sometimes we do that with like everything. Like we want things to be like hyper polished.
Yep.
And we don't have this sense of like humanity is much messier than that and much more beautiful than that. And so I think saint lives sometimes like maybe any historical hero of just like they're put on this pedestal and it's like they died this way and it's like yes, but leading up to that
they had a lot of mess.
Yeah.
Like every human life is a lot of mess.
Yeah.
But that's why our redemption through the cross is so beautiful. Like the Lord entered in his incarnation into that mess and he took on that mess. And like what are we whining about?
This is so beautiful. There's deeper beauty.
Yep. There's beauty in the mess. Even though it's messy, and I would prefer it to not be so messy, but it is.
I think that's our human impulse.
Yep.
We're always like, or even healing. Like, I'd like to be healed now, completely.
Yep.
I'd like to never have to, like, I'd like to be, like, have forgiven everybody and just, like, not be mad at anybody and just, like, I'm totally free. And it's like, yeah, we strive toward that, but, like, we have to work through time, like, that's not like this healing thing.
I think it's partly true because like the Lord says we have to pick up our crosses and follow him, right? And oftentimes we're like, I'd love to do that, Lord, but can I pick mine? And like, and we'll be like, but I don't want this one. I don't want this particular thing that I struggle with and I probably will struggle with for the rest of my life. But the Lord's like, but that's the cross. Like, it's not the cross if you just like, but that lady's cross is easier or like it looks easier. So I want to carry that one and not this one. And like, no, that's not how that works. Not how that works.
I can't pick it. There's a story, I forget who was telling me the story of this guy who like, he came in with his cross, like, to like, I don't know, there's like this shop of crosses. And he's like, all right, Jesus, like, you gave me this cross. I just don't like this life right now. This is very heavy. I need to pick up a different cross. Yeah. And so he's like looking, he tries to find the smallest one he can. He finds a pretty small one. He like lifts it up. He like gets smushed instantly. He's like, well, that was not the one for me. So he keeps going down smaller and smaller and smaller. And finally he hits this like itty bitty one where he's like, I'll take that one. And God's like, that's the cross you came in with. And I just like love remembering that of like, when I'm like, oh, it's so, woe is me. And it's like, God gives us what we can handle, or gives us the grace to handle what we really think we can.
We have to be receptive to that grace. I think that's the key, right? Unfortunately.
Receptivity, right back to one.
Yeah.
All right. I just taking. I have one more question.
Okay.
And I just want to ask: is there any misconceptions that people have about apples or scientists?
Oh, I mean, like, there's the scientists. I feel like there's the caricature of like a scientist where we got our lab coats and we're like really nerdy and have no social skills. Sometimes the no social skills is true.
I was gonna ask, do you have a lab coat?
Yeah, I haven't worn a lab coat since like undergrad because I do all my work mostly outside. So like that's not. Okay. I spend a good chunk of time outside and a good chunk of time in front of a computer. But that's just my particular science. There's plenty of scientists that wear lab coats. Any misconceptions about apples? I feel like a lot of people think that, okay, I want to have, let's say, a Honeycrisp apple tree, and I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to cut open a Honeycrisp, and I'll plant that seed, and I'm going to get a Honeycrisp tree. No, you're not. You're going to get an offspring of Honeycrisp, so it's going to share some characteristics of it, but it's probably going to be pretty gross, because who knows what the pollen parent was there. So it's important to know that seeds are all the result of sexual reproduction, right? So there's some combination of their parents. Just like you share some characteristics of your parents, but not all. Praise the Lord for that. It's the same thing with apples. So if you want an apple tree, of a particular variety, don't plant a seed. Go get it. It'll be a grafted tree, but yeah.
Is that Honeycrisp in particular just because of the breeding, or is that all?
Well, that's all of them. Yeah, all of them.
Because I remember hearing that about Honeycrisp, like you can't just go plant the seed, and I was like, what's the point of these things? Like I was so
you gotta
upset.
eat them. That's it.
Dang it. Okay. All right. I want to do a speed round.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you
speed round with an academic is a terrible idea.
It'll be a really long speed round.
Okay.
We're okay. We're
actually okay.
Actually. All right. Tastiest apple.
I would say Sweet Tango.
Oh. Best hike in Minnesota.
Oh, I mean the Superior Hiking Trail. Like, yeah, I would just say the Superior Hiking Trail.
Sweet. Best hike in the United States of America.
I don't know what the best one is, but
for you,
I mean, there are some really great ones out in Washington in the Cascade Mountains. Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there's some pretty beautiful sights.
Sweet. Least favorite animal?
A mouse.
Best saint friend?
Currently, St. Teresa of Avila, but I'm kind of obsessed with a lot of them. So.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.